Hi gang, Rob here. It's the evening of February 2017. Coming to you with another From the Sharpening Bench video this evening. Sorry I had a little dark spot in my periphery. What we've got tonight is a knife that's heading across the pond to Europa. This one from Northwoods Knives, the in-house brand of Derek Bone, Knives Ship Free. This is the latest traditional slip joint from Northwoods. It comes in the Northwoods Main Street pocket slip. And this one happens to come with a Northwoods Challenge coin, something Derek just recently started doing. In fact, this might be the first model to include that. Pretty cool. So what is the Bear Lake? That's the name of this model, aka Steve. The Steve knife. Why Steve? Well, I asked Derek that when these were coming in. I was up in Escanaba in January visiting KSF and Bark River and Zocrist Knives and the Island of Misfit Toys, Jesse Hempel's place. So these were laying all over the place. They were just in from Great Eastern Cutlery, the maker of this particular Northwoods pocket knife. And Derek and I were discussing them, and I had seen on GEC's production schedule the Northwoods Steve knife. I said, "What's up with Steve?" He goes, "Well, when they were putting these on the schedule, you know how Christine is, Chris Tucker. She says, 'Derek, I can't put it on the schedule unless you have a name for it.' So he says, 'Oh, you need a name? How about Steve? We'll call it Steve.'" He had not arrived at the name Bear Lake at that point. So the Steve knife is the Bear Lake. Focus, baby. So what is it? And frankly, the knife has a little bit of an identity crisis. And I think Derek was a little conflicted as he was designing this. What he had in mind was a very slender, very elegant sleeve board pattern and a matching elegant spear point blade. But then some other thoughts started to creep in, and he thought, I'm really wanting the GEC produced Northwoods knives to all have that rustic finish and saber grind. And I wouldn't say that the rustic finish and saber grind are particularly elegant, and I think, once these came to fruition, that sort of became apparent to Derek as well. So I don't know. For me, at least, it doesn't quite hit the eye right. I sort of see this handle as a 38 Grilling Whittler with the serpentine feature taken out of it. Let's kind of see what I'm talking about here. I just happen to have mine in my pocket. So a little larger. But see what I mean? If you take the 38 frame and you straighten it out, you sort of end up with the Bear Lake. Although the 38's longer. And the Bear Lake is not made on any existing GEC platform. It is its own pattern. So I find it to be definitely an elegant handle, maybe with a little thinner butt end than I like. But if you sort of back up on it, it's sort of a 3.5 finger knife. By the way, the frame length or the closed length on this knife is 3 9/16, and the blade length is 2 11/16. It is 1095 in the normal GEC thickness. What is that, about 93 thousandths or so? Pretty thinly ground for one of the saber ground Northwoods. It does get sharp. 1095 does get sharp. No doubt about that. Even with that saber grind geometry, they still can be quite good slicers. this is just beautifully done. The swedge on this particular spear point is super attractive. And the spine has a little higher level of polish than I'm used to seeing. We have 0 blade play. Good walk and talk, and it's a little damped or muted, which I kind of don't mind. Listen to it close. I think that red linen micarta sort of helps with that. Back springs flush when open. Slightly proud at half stop. Flush when closed. Blade centering is right on the money. Back spring is dead straight across. Blade well beautifully finished as usual. Transitions from micarta to nickel silver bolster, or maybe steel on this knife. Got a feeling they're steel. I think it is an all steel knife. Anyway, transitions are all good. The arrowhead and Northwoods shield is totally flush. And then as usual, we've got 1, 2 flush pins and then 2 that are countersunk into the micarta. It's because of the order of assembly, guys. Nicely made knife. And if you guys are lucky enough to get one of these, you're pretty lucky. Because as with all GEC produced Northwoods pocket knives, they're all worth more than Derek sells them for. Aren't they? I wouldn't say this one exactly does it for me, but I think for many of you, you really like it. You know, as you guys know, I am not a saber ground rustic finish knife guy. I much prefer my full flat ground GECs, but I know you guys like them because they always sell out right away. And then they go for, 50 to 75% more than MSRP when you sell them on the secondary market. And they're very well made pocket knives. Let's put that one home in its slip. Get ready to package up and send it off to Michael. Thought you'd like to see it before it goes. Grace to you and peace, my friends, from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. And remember, the word is sharp.